Hey, Sircrap here. With the new concrete slabs and stairs coming to Minecraft in the 26.3 update, I wanted to design a simple AFK-able concrete farm. So this is the design I ended up with. It fits neatly inside a 16 by 16 block area and produces 6,200 blocks of concrete every hour. That's roughly 96 stacks of concrete, so it's plenty for any big builds I want to do. It's super TNT efficient, with each piece of TNT equating to 15 pieces of concrete, so even with like the simplest creeper farm, you'll be able to run this for hours. Here's all the materials you'll need to build the farm. 3 stacks of a building block of your choice. If you want to reduce the amount of iron in the build, you can just create a more effective collection system and use less hoppers. You'll then also need concrete powder and TNT. To start off, build an 11 by 11 area. This is going to function as the blast chamber as well as our collection zone. Then on the side you want to have the collection, dig down 2 blocks at the end and then 1 block here, creating a little staircase. At the end, dig out 2 blocks, put our chest, and fill this bottom row with hoppers. Fill the back end completely with water. You'll know you've done this correctly if the water pools all the way down and every block of the ground is covered. This way, in case the TNT block falls down, it won't blow up your farm. I've laid out the centre of each side to help the perspective of the build. Next, you want to come to the collection side and build a 4 high wall. Around the back, find the halfway point and then build 3 blocks out. Following the centre of this length, you want to break 5 blocks out, and this is where our concrete is going to be shifted outwards. Place 5 pistons adjacent from the gap we just made. On the right side, place a piston facing inwards, a piece of redstone dust behind the piston, and 2 observers facing one another to create an infinite pulse. It's working correctly, you see the piston moving back and forth. Place a lever here to stop that. A really important thing I forgot to mention whilst building the farm, if you have more than 2 observer outputs, like so, within a chunk or next to a chunk, it will throw off the timing of the piston and make the farm really inefficient. So make sure that you don't have any double observer outputs near the farm, otherwise it will really slow down the rates. On the left side, we're going to place an observer facing inwards, redstone dust curving around the back, a repeater going outwards, followed by going into another repeater. This first repeater needs to be on 1 tick, otherwise the farm won't work. Break the block adjacent from the second repeater, place a piece of glass, break this block, and we're going to create a glass zigzag down to the bottom. Place a piece of redstone dust on each piece of glass. This is going to create an extra cable out, which will eventually connect to our input counter. Back on top, place the dust on the rest of the pistons. Over here, we're going to have our water. I find that placing just a shelf here and blocking it in works better than waterlogging a slab. And that's where our water is going to sit. Next, it's time to build the TNT dropper. Find the center point and build 12 blocks up. And 4 blocks out. Build a 3x3 to house your dispenser. This should directly be in the center of the square. Head below, place your dispenser facing downwards and make sure to fully encase the lower half in blocks as well. We need the TNT to land dead center, otherwise it won't blow up all the blocks and the farm will break. Then run a cable back towards the end of the dropper. At the base of the dropper, we need to build the impulse counter, so the farm knows to drop a piece of TNT once 15 blocks of concrete have been pushed through. Place a block at the base and a torch, a redstone comparator going into the block, out to the side a dropper, and a hopper going into the dropper. Place 6 blocks on the side, and then another 6 going outwards. A block here to create a little L shape. Have a redstone comparator going into the block and a redstone comparator going adjacent. Fill in the rest with redstone dust and and place a redstone torch above the hopper. Next, we need to put 3 of any block into the dropper. You know you've done this correctly when the torch here turns off. Coming back to our loose output, bring the redstone into the back of the dropper. Now we want to feed the impulse up to the dispenser. Place a block and then a redstone torch on each one. At the very top, the redstone torch should be off. There we go. Now every time 3 impulses get sent from the back, this will then drop 1 piece of TNT. With the TNT dispenser hooked up, the farm's very nearly finished, and all we have to do now is build the AFK chamber. Coming back to the start, build 3 blocks around the piston, and then we want to raise this by another block. It should be 2 blocks above the extended piston. Coming over here, going to create a little bit of a passageway up for those in survival. Build some ladders up to the top. For the right side, facing inwards to the blast chamber, build 3 blocks upwards. And then add some more ladders on it. Up here, we want to create a 4x5 area going around the ladder. Alright, you can see the 4x5 is flush with the blast chamber and the outside of the farm. Coming over to the left side of the ladder, break this block. This is where our dispenser is going to be. On the underside, place a dispenser here. Whilst you're down here, place a lever directly above the original one on the underside of the 4x5. Back up at the top, place 2 redstone repeaters feeding into the dispenser. Place another redstone repeater parallel to the left one. Then we're going to be creating our small redstone clock, like so. In order for this to dispense the concrete at the right rate, make sure both of these are on 1 tick, and then bring the redstone dust around to the back here. I need way more storage than just 1 dispenser. I want to come back to double chests full of concrete. So in order to do that, we've got to create some extra storage. Place a hopper and some double chests up top. Each double chest will last roughly half an hour of AFK before it's all placed into the farm. So I'd recommend adding at least 2 more layers. That way the farm can be AFK for about an hour and a half. As I said before, each piece of TNT destroys 15 pieces of concrete. So if I want to get through all 3 of these double chests, I'm going to need 12 stacks of TNT. In order to do that, I'm going to expand the dropper just by adding a hopper and a chest on top. There we go. Now that will be able to go for hours. Before I run the AFK clock, I'm going to run the farm to make sure it's all hooked up correctly. Turn the piston on. This should be going back and forwards. And just start dispensing your concrete powder. We should see our first blocks about to be destroyed. Success. Regardless of how long you run this for, I've never had it where blocks continue to the end and then the farm breaks. Now that we know the farm works, I'm going to build a small AFK chamber, just placing 4 doors in a small circle, just like that. And you'll see directly above us is our dispenser linked to the clock. To run the farm, go to the left, make sure this is turned on, and then to run the clock up top, this never needs to be flipped really quickly twice. Like that. That will then slowly dispense the sand. We can move inwards and then just infinitely place. I'm going to reset the farm and go into survival. Turn the farm off, flip the 2 levers, and then to reset the farm, make sure this lever flips back to off. We need access to the top again because the redstone clock will be fully powered. To reset it, just break apart the circuit and replace it. Alright, now that I'm back in survival, make sure the bottom piston's firing, double press this lever, and there we go. As you can see, the dropper just about keeps up with the placement rate of the concrete. So now I can sit here for an hour and a half is what I've got it filled up to, and I can come back to a double chest full of concrete. No effort required. For the sake of not waiting, having just run the farm for literally a minute or 2, as you can see, collection is working perfectly. TNT dropper stops once we stop placing blocks, although I did forget to turn the dispenser off. And that just about concludes the tutorial. I hope Bedrock players get to enjoy this farm. It's about time that I had a concrete farm that I didn't have to mine by hand and I can actually AFK, so that's going to be great for my survival world. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed and have a good one. See ya.